So if I have 5 factorial, this basically means that 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. A factorial just simply means multiplying a whole number down to 1. If I have 6 factorial, this can be written as 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 by 2 then by 1. Alright, I'm sure now you can see how to do a factorial. So we can agree, ladies and gentlemen, that factorial 5 can be written as 5 multiplied by 4 factorial, because this guy here is 4 factorial, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. We can also agree that 6 factorial can be written as 6 multiplied by 5 factorial. Or if you want to, you can write 6 as 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4 factorial, just looking at it from there. Right? So that is the other important skill we'll need to be able to solve this question. And you must notice that we always get one less. 5 minus 1 give us 4, minus 1, 3, minus 1, 2, minus 1, 1. You see it? So now, ladies and gentlemen, we can go and apply that into our video. So here, we are basically going to firstly look at, I'm going to go at the bottom and say this one, this factorial, can be written as n plus 1 multiplied by n factorial. Remember, we said the first part is always exactly like this part, and then the second part we minus 1. So that minus 1, this minus 1 will just be n, but I can say n factorial using this fact, using that fact. Okay, awesome. And then now I'm going to replace this. I'm going to say n factorial multiplied by n factorial, because it's to the power 2 all over. I'm going to replace this with that, which is n plus 1 multiplied by n factorial. And then we have n minus 1 factorial, which will be equals to 7 over 8. And ladies and gentlemen, we can now see that this one and that one are going to cancel because they're exactly the same. So we're going to have n factorial all over n plus 1. Then we're going to have n minus 1 factorial, which is equals to 7 over 8. Right? But we know that n factorial can be written as, remember we said we take this first, which is n, and then we say n minus 1 factorial. Right? It's like here, if I had 6 factorial, I can write it as 6 multiplied by 5 factorial. Alrighty. Alright. So now I'm going to replace this guy with that, because this and that are exactly the same. Alright. So now the numerator is going to become n, and then n minus 1 factorial all over n plus 1, then n minus 1 factorial. Then here we're going to have 7 over 8. And we can also see that this and that are going to cancel because they're exactly the same. So we're left with n over n plus 1 equals to 7 over 8. And then we can cross multiply. Or in simple terms, we can see that n equals to 7. Therefore, n equals to 7. Or even if you took the denominator, you can say n plus 1 equals to 8, making n to be 7 still. So the value of n is 7, ladies and gentlemen. And I need to give you a tip, right, a memory trick. You must remember that factorials falls faster. When simplifying, look for common factorials to cancel before expanding. Do not rush to expand. Always look for common factorials first and then cancel. Tango.